Let's be honest, living alone with no friends, no family, and no one to check in on you can feel like waking up in a world that's suddenly gone quiet. The mornings stretch longer, the evenings echo louder, and sometimes the silence feels heavier than the furniture in your living room. It wasn't the life many of us planned, yet here we are, navigating each day on our own terms. But solitude doesn't have to mean sadness. Living alone can be more than just surviving. It can be a deeply peaceful, empowering way to exist when you learn how to build safety, structure, and small joys into each day. What follows aren't theories or empty pep talks. They're 10 practical, heartfelt ways to make solo living not only manageable, but meaningful, even beautiful in its simplicity. 1. Automate your medical safety net. When you live alone, your health is your closest companion and your biggest responsibility. There's no one standing in the doorway asking, "Did you take your pills?" or checking if you've eaten breakfast. That kind of independence can feel freeing at times, but it also carries a quiet danger. A forgotten medication, a dizzy spell, or a simple fall can turn into something serious before anyone even knows. That's why the first and most important rule of living well alone is this: don't rely on memory or luck. Build yourself a safety net that runs on autopilot. Think of automation as your invisible team. These little systems don't judge, they don't forget, and they never take a day off. They exist to keep you safe in the background, quietly doing the work that family members or caregivers might have done. One of the best examples of this is the automatic pill dispenser. Forget the days of fiddling with weekly boxes or sticky notes that say Tuesday, blue pill. These modern gadgets are smart. They only release the correct pills at the right times, beep until you take them, and some even lock between doses to prevent accidents. A retired teacher once joked that his dispenser is like a slot machine for survival. It chimes, flashes, and rewards him with good health instead of coin. Then there are the medical alert systems. You might remember those old commercials where someone cried, "I've fallen and I can't get up." It's easy to laugh at the dated image, but the concept remains life-saving. Today's devices are much more discreet: sleek watches, pendants, or even rings that detect when you've fallen and automatically alert emergency services. You don't even have to push a button. Think of it as having a digital guardian angel on your wrist, ready to call for help the moment you can't. It's not paranoia. It's protection that buys you peace of mind. Some towns and communities even offer free daily check-in calls for seniors. A volunteer or an automated system rings you once a day just to make sure you're okay. If you don't answer, someone checks in. One gentleman I met calls it his nosy neighbor service. He says, "It's like having someone who cares, but without the gossip." It's a small thing, but it bridges the gap between isolation and safety. There are also smart home tools that act as gentle health monitor. Devices can track your movement around the house, alert you if you haven't opened the fridge all day, or remind you to hydrate. Some health apps on phones or smartwatches keep a log of your pulse, sleep, and activity, information that can be shared directly with your doctor. For those who live completely solo, these digital systems are like quiet companions that notice what others might miss. Now, you might be thinking, this all sounds complicated. But the truth is, setting these up is often a one-time effort that saves you endless worry later. Most pharmacies or local health agencies can help program pill dispensers or recommend reliable alert systems. Many companies offer free setup and 24-hour assistance. You don't need to be tech-savvy. You just need the willingness to let a few smart tools make life simpler. Here's the mindset shift that matters. Automation doesn't replace human care, it empowers self-care. It allows you to focus on living, not surviving. When your health routines run smoothly in the background, your mind is free to enjoy the day, to water your plants, to listen to music, or to simply breathe without fear of what might go wrong. A woman once told me, "I used to lie awake wondering if I'd be okay if something happened in the night. Now my watch would call for help before I even hit the floor." That's not dependency. That's smart independence. So, start small. Maybe it's setting up medication reminders on your phone. Maybe it's ordering that pill dispenser you've been putting off. Maybe it's signing up for a local check-in service. Each small step you automate becomes one less thing to worry about and one more layer of freedom in your life. Because the truth is, when you live alone, your greatest ally isn't a family member or a nurse. It's the quiet confidence of knowing that even if you stumble, you've already built the system that will catch you. Design your home to be solo safe. Your home is more than just a place you live in. It's your daily partner, your teammate, your protector. When you live alone, it becomes even more important that your home helps you instead of working against you. The truth is, most houses are built for people who still leap off chairs to grab things from high shelves and twist like acrobats to plug in a lamp. That works fine when you're 30, but not when you're 75, and every stumble feels like a gamble. When you live alone, every corner of your house has to serve one purpose: support your independence. That starts with removing danger before it removes your confidence. One of the biggest culprits? Clutter. Loose rugs, cords stretched across walkways, stacks of magazines by the chair. They're not harmless quirks. They're booby traps waiting for a tired foot or an unsteady moment. A woman once told me she finally got rid of her favorite rug because her cat loved tripping her more than sleeping on it. "Best decision I ever made," she laughed. "Now my hallway loves me back." Start with a walk through your home. Look at it as if you were visiting someone who needs your help. Would you tell them to move that coffee table that catches your shin? Would you ask them why the hallway is darker than a cave? Be that voice of reason for yourself. Clear the battlefield first. Smooth the surfaces. Move the cords. Keep the paths open. Safety isn't about fear. It's about foresight. Then move to the bathroom, what I like to call the danger zone. Wet floors, slippery tubs, awkward reaches for towel racks that can't actually support your weight. Many people resist installing grab bars because they think it means they've surrendered to age. But that's old thinking. Today, they come in sleek, modern designs that look more like decor than medical gear. You're not admitting weakness by adding them. You're protecting your strength. One senior told me she bought brushed steel bars that matched her fixtures perfectly. "No one even knows they're there," she said. "But they've saved me twice." Lighting is another unsung hero. A dark hallway at 2 a.m. can turn a midnight bathroom trip into an emergency room visit. Motion sensor lights are a simple, affordable fix. They pop on automatically when you walk by, guiding you safely. It feels a little magical, like your home whispering, "Don't worry, I've got you." Next, think about reachability. When you live alone, you can't afford to play mountain climber just to grab a cereal box. Keep everything within lazy reach. The rule is simple. If you can't get it while standing flat-footed, it's too high. Use lower shelves, rolling carts, or small foldable stools instead of chairs. One widower told me, "I keep a little stool in every room. It doesn't talk, but it keeps me out of the ER." Smart man. And while you're rethinking space, add a few small comforts that support your daily rhythm. A sturdy chair with arms that help you stand, non-slip mats where you cook, or a phone charger near your favorite seat so you never have to rush across the room. These aren't luxuries. They're design choices that quietly protect you. The beauty of a solo-safe home is that it extends your independence. Every hazard you remove, every light you add, every grab bar you install buys you more time living on your own terms. You're not baby-proofing your home, you're freedom-proofing it. Living alone doesn't have to mean being vulnerable. It can mean being prepared, confident, and at peace within your own four walls. Because when your home is built to support you, you stop worrying about what-ifs and start focusing on what's next. A warm meal, a quiet evening, or simply the joy of knowing you're safe where you are. 3. Plan meals like a pilot. Plans fuel. When you live alone, it's easy for meals to slip into the background of your day, something you do when you remember, or skip when you don't. There's no one asking, "What's for dinner?" and no table waiting to be set. Before you know it, you're eating crackers at 10 p.m., or calling a bowl of cereal a balanced meal. And while that might seem harmless, in the long run, it chips away at your strength, energy, and mood. Food isn't just food when you're on your own, it's fuel for independence. Think of yourself as the pilot of a small, precious aircraft, your body. You can't just hope there's enough fuel to get through the day. A pilot plans, measures, and refuels before taking off. You deserve the same care. Your meals aren't chores, they're checkpoints that keep your system running smoothly and your spirit strong. Many older adults living solo struggle with motivation to cook. After all, Cooking for one can feel like too much trouble. That's where meal planning becomes your secret ally. One widower shared a piece of wisdom I'll never forget. "I don't cook for myself. I cook for my future self." Once a week, he makes big batches of soups, roasted vegetables, or casseroles, portions them into containers, and freezes them. That way, even on tired days, he's still eating well because his past self already did the work. Batch cooking not only saves time, but it prevents those energy crashes that come from skipping meals. Try dedicating one afternoon a week to cooking. Put on music, make a pot of soup, roast some chicken, or bake a tray of vegetables. Divide them into ready-to-grab portions. Label them with the day, and stack them neatly in your fridge or freezer. You'll be amazed at how much lighter your week feels when mealtime becomes effortless. And don't overlook simple, healthy snacks. Create what I like to call a fuel station in your kitchen. One low, easy-to-reach shelf, stocked with quick options: nuts, fruit cups, protein bars, yogurt, or even pre-made oatmeal packets. One woman told me she made a snack shelf right at eye level. No bending, no stretching, and no excuses. She laughed. "It's like having my own vending machine, only everything's good for me." Eating well doesn't mean every meal needs to be fancy. It just needs to be intentional. A pot of soup can carry you through 3 meals. A dozen hard-boiled eggs can become instant protein. Overnight oats, frozen vegetables, or pre-cooked grains can make cooking fast and painless. The goal isn't gourmet, it's consistency. And here's a tip: use reminders. Whether on your phone or a small sticky note, schedule meal times like appointments. Lunch, 12:30 p.m. Snack, 4 p.m. It sounds simple, but structure creates rhythm, and rhythm keeps you grounded. Proper nutrition does more than feed your body. It lifts your mood and clears your mind. It helps you wake up with energy and go to bed with satisfaction. When you eat well, you're not just staying alive, you're fueling your freedom. So plan your meals the way a pilot plans fuel, carefully, consistently, and with respect for the journey ahead. Because the truth is, living alone isn't about doing less. It's about doing the right things that keep you soaring, day after day, safely and steadily on your own terms. 4. Build a silent backup network of professionals. One of the hardest parts of living alone isn't loneliness, it's logistics. The endless list of chores, errands, repairs, and appointments can feel like a full-time job. When you don't have family or friends nearby, it's tempting to believe you have to do it all yourself. But that's not independence, that's exhaustion in disguise. The truth is, being independent doesn't mean carrying every burden alone. It means knowing how to build a quiet network of reliable helpers who make your life smoother without demanding your energy or attention. Think of this as creating your silent backup crew. These aren't emotional companions or close friends. They're professionals, people you can rely on for specific tasks, so you can spend your time and energy where it really matters. It's like assembling a team that works in the background while you stay captain of your own ship. Start with the basics. Groceries. You don't need to haul heavy bags or navigate crowded stores if you don't want to. Many seniors now use grocery delivery apps or local store services. One man I spoke to said he treats his delivery driver like his invisible nephew. Every Thursday, his groceries show up at the door, perfectly packed, no stress, no sore back. "Best nephew I ever had," he joked, and he's always on time. For a few extra dollars, you buy back your time, energy, and safety. That's not a luxury, it's smart living. Next, consider cleaning and household help. You may not need weekly deep cleaning, but even hiring someone for 2 hours once a month can make a huge difference. It's not about laziness, it's about strategy. A widow I know used to resist the idea, thinking, "That's for rich people." But after one visit from a local cleaning service, she changed her mind. They scrubbed the bathtub, and I realized I hadn't done that properly in months. It's worth every penny. She said her back felt better, her home brighter, and her mind lighter. Don't forget transportation. Even if you still drive, there will come a day when you don't feel like it, or shouldn't. That's where rideshare services like Uber or Lyft come in handy. Many older adults use them not just for appointments, but for social outings or grocery trips. One man told me he's had more pleasant conversations with Uber drivers than with his own cousins. "They always ask about my day. he said. It's like therapy on wheels. Genres. It is readily ever. You can also outsource home maintenance tasks, gardening, small repairs, even changing light bulbs. Many communities have handyman services that specialize in helping seniors. A small investment today can prevent accidents tomorrow. And if technology feels overwhelming, there are tech support services that will set up your phone, tablet, or safety devices for a small fee. You don't need to know everything. You just need to know who to call. The beauty of a silent backup network is that it doesn't ask for emotional energy. You don't have to host, explain, or reciprocate. You pay for services that make your life easier, safer, and more enjoyable. Every hour you don't spend straining or worrying is an hour you gain for yourself, for a walk, a nap, or simply a quiet cup of tea. Here's the secret. When you don't have a safety net of people, you can build a safety net of systems. Your invisible helpers, drivers, cleaners, delivery folks, repairmen are the threads of that net. You don't need a crowd around you to live well. You just need a reliable team that quietly keeps you standing strong. That's not dependence. That's wisdom. It's the art of living smart, not hard, and it's one of the greatest gifts you can give yourself when you're living life on your own terms. 5. Train your body for independence, not vanity. When we're young, exercise is often about the mirror. We chase flat stomachs, toned arms, or muscles we can show off in a photograph. But as we age, especially when we're living alone, the reason to move changes completely. Suddenly, it's not about looking strong. It's about being strong enough to live life on your own terms. Independence, after all, isn't a mindset, it's a muscle. When you live alone, your body becomes your greatest tool for freedom. It lifts your groceries, steadies you when you trip, helps you stand from a chair, or reach for something on the top shelf. Lose that strength, and you risk losing control over your life. But the good news is, you don't need a gym membership or fancy equipment. You just need a commitment to move with purpose every day. A retired engineer I once met put it perfectly. He said, "I don't train for the beach anymore. I train so I don't have to call my neighbor when I can't open a jar of peanut butter." That line stuck with me because it's exactly what this chapter is about. Building the kind of strength that lets you keep doing ordinary things without needing anyone's help. Start with the basics. Leg strength is the foundation of independence. It allows you to get up from chairs, climb steps, and balance when the floor feels uneven. Simple exercises like sitting and standing from a sturdy chair 10 times in a row, twice a day, can make a huge difference. It may not sound like much, but those 10 repetitions are your secret weapon against frailty. One woman told me, "That's my morning ritual, 10 chair squats. If I can do those, I can survive any bathroom visit." She laughed, but she was right. Then, focus on balance and flexibility. Standing on one foot while holding onto the counter or rising up on your toes 10 times a day helps your body remember how to stay steady. Yoga or gentle stretching videos online can be wonderful too. You don't need to twist like a pretzel. Just move enough to remind your body that it's capable, responsive, and alive. And don't forget upper body strength. Being able to lift a jug of water, carry laundry, or reach overhead safely matters more than biceps ever did. You can use light hand weights or even soup cans, whatever feels manageable. A few curls, shoulder presses, or gentle arm circles while watching TV add up over time. The goal isn't to impress anyone. It's to preserve your dignity. If you're new to exercise or have health concerns, start slow and consult your doctor before beginning anything strenuous. The point isn't perfection, it's consistency. 10 minutes a day is infinitely better than doing nothing at all. Movement also feeds your mental well-being. Physical activity releases endorphins that ease anxiety and sharpen focus. It helps you sleep better and gives your days structure. One man told me, "When I walk around the block every morning, I don't feel like an old man living alone. I feel like a man going somewhere." That mindset shift can change everything. And here's the truth. Training your body is training your future. Every stretch, lift, and step you take now adds a coin to your independence jar. You're making deposits into your mobility, your confidence, your ability to keep saying, "I can do it myself." No one's asking you to run marathons or lift weights at dawn. Just promise yourself you'll keep moving in whatever way your body allows. Take the stairs when you can. Stretch while the kettle boils. Lift a water bottle like it's a dumbbell. These small acts of motion whisper a simple truth into your life every day. You're still capable, you're still strong, and you still own your freedom. So, train not for vanity, but for victory. The quiet, everyday kind that lets you stay independent, balanced, and proud in the life you've built for yourself. 6. Master the art of one-trip living. If there's one universal truth about living alone, it's this. The house never stops asking you to carry something. Groceries from the car, laundry from the machine, trash to the curb, dishes from one end of the kitchen to the other. It's a constant parade of little chores that somehow add up to exhaustion. When you don't have anyone to share the load, every extra trip becomes a small test of patience, balance, and endurance. That's why one of the smartest habits you can develop is something I call one-trip living. One-trip living is about efficiency and safety, not laziness. It means organizing your routine so that every movement counts and every errand happens with the least strain possible. You don't just save time. You protect your energy and reduce your chances of tripping, slipping, or overexerting yourself. It's a philosophy of living smarter, not harder. Take groceries, for example. Many of us have been guilty of standing in the driveway, staring at 12 bags and thinking, I can carry them all in one go. When you're younger, that's a bragging right. When you're older, it's self-preservation, but it still needs the right tools. A foldable rolling cart or sturdy wagon can become your secret ally. One retiree I met calls his cart the magic chariot. Every week he loads it with groceries, mail, and laundry, and rolls it from car to kitchen in a single smooth trip. It's not glamorous, he said with a grin, but it's better than pretending my knees are 30 years old. Inside the home, think about minimizing back and forth movements. Keep a lightweight basket or tote handy for collecting things that need to go from one room to another. If you live in a house with stairs, keep duplicate supplies, like reading glasses, phone chargers, or a spare blanket on both levels. That way you're not climbing up and down just because you forgot something. A woman I once interviewed uses a crossbody pouch around the house. She fills it with her phone, glasses, keys, tissues, and a small bottle of water. It's my survival kit, she said. I never wander off without it. That little trick saves her dozens of steps and prevents the familiar frustration of searching for what she just had a minute ago. Even household chores can follow the one-trip rule. When you take out the trash, bring in the mail. When you head to the bedroom, carry the folded laundry along. Think of your movements as opportunities for small victories in efficiency. The secret joy of one-trip living is that it brings order to the chaos of everyday life. It makes your routine smoother, your body less strained, and your mind a little more peaceful. You stop feeling like the house is in charge of you and start feeling like you've mastered it. Because when you live alone, energy is your currency. Every ounce you save on the little things can be spent on the big ones, tending to your garden, writing a letter, or simply enjoying the quiet satisfaction of a day well lived. One-trip living isn't about cutting corners, it's about carving out freedom. 7. Use technology as a caregiver substitute. Technology can sometimes feel intimidating, especially when every new device seems to come with more buttons, apps, and updates than we know what to do with. But here's the thing. When you're living alone, technology isn't just about convenience anymore. It's about companionship, safety, and independence. Think of it not as a set of gadgets, but as your digital caregiving team, a group of tireless helpers that never get tired, forgetful, or impatient. Let's start with the basics. Reminders. You may not have a daughter calling every morning to say, "Don't forget your pills," but a smart assistant can do exactly that without the guilt trip. Devices like Amazon Alexa or Google Assistant can be programmed to remind you to take medication, drink water, lock the door, or even call your doctor. One gentleman I met calls his Alexa Nurse Nagy. He said, "She's bossy, but she never forgets, and she never asks for gas money." Whether you talk back or not, having those reminders takes a load off your mind. Beyond reminders, technology can literally keep you safe. Smartwatches and wearable medical devices now detect falls automatically. If you slip and can't move, they call for help right away. It's like having an invisible bodyguard who's always on duty. Many of these gadgets also monitor your heart rate and activity levels, sending data directly to your doctor. Imagine the peace of mind that brings. You're never truly alone, even in an emergency. Smart home tools can also make daily life smoother. Motion sensor lights prevent nighttime stumbles. Smart thermostats adjust your home's temperature automatically. And video doorbells let you see who's knocking without leaving your chair. Technology isn't replacing you, it's protecting you. But perhaps the most underestimated power of technology is its ability to soften loneliness. Living alone doesn't mean you have to live in silence. There are dozens of online communities, virtual classes, and hobby groups where people connect through shared interests, from art and gardening to fitness and book clubs. One woman I know in her 70s joined a virtual watercolor class. "It's funny," she said. "I've met more people in my pajamas than I did going to town every week." It's not about finding lifelong friends. It's about keeping your world open and your mind active. Even voice assistants can offer small but meaningful companionship. Some people scoff at talking to a device, but you'd be surprised how comforting it can feel to hear a cheerful "good morning" or a silly joke as you make coffee. A widower once told me he asks his smart speaker to tell him the news, play his favorite songs, and even remind him to water his plants. "She keeps me company," he said simply. The key is to embrace technology as your partner, not your opponent. You don't need to master every feature, just pick a few that make your life easier. Start with something small: a smart plug, a voice assistant, a wearable alert, or an app that helps you video call your doctor. Each tool you add becomes another thread in your safety net. You may live alone, but you don't have to manage everything alone. Let the machines do the remembering, the watching, and even a bit of the comforting. Technology can't hug you or share a meal, but it can make your world safer, easier, and a little less lonely. In a way, these devices represent the best kind of caregiver, one who doesn't complain, doesn't interfere, and always shows up when needed. When used wisely, technology doesn't take away your independence, it guards it. 8. Build a paper trail of peace. No one likes to think about emergencies, illness, or the day when we might not be able to handle everything ourselves. But if you live alone, the truth is simple: preparation is peace. Getting your paperwork and personal information in order isn't morbid. It's one of the most powerful acts of self-respect you can take. It tells the world, "I've got this handled." I like to call this step creating your paper trail of peace. It's a way to organize your life so that everything important, your medical details, bills, passwords, and personal wishes, is right where it needs to be when it matters most. You're not just doing this for the what-ifs. You're doing it to give yourself clarity and comfort today, because when your life is neatly arranged on paper, your mind gets to rest. Start simple. Gather your essential documents: identification, medical insurance, doctor's contact information, prescriptions, your will, if you have one, and your financial accounts. Keep them in one dedicated place: a folder, binder, or even a labeled box. One man I once read about had a binder titled "In Case I Croak." Dark humor, yes, but practical genius. Inside, he stored everything: insurance policies, passwords, emergency contacts, and even the plumber's phone number. He said it made him feel lighter knowing that, should something happen, there wouldn't be chaos, just clarity. You don't need fancy systems. Some people prefer a digital folder on a password-protected USB drive, while others stick to good old-fashioned paper. What matters is accessibility. Make sure someone trustworthy, a neighbor, doctor, lawyer, or even a local service, knows where to find it if needed. Include everyday things too: what day your bills are due, who to call for repairs, where your keys are hidden, and what medical treatments you do or don't want in an emergency. These are the tiny details that can make a big difference when you're unable to speak for yourself. And don't underestimate how empowering it feels to have this done. A woman once told me, "When I finished my legacy box, I slept better that night than I had in years." Her box wasn't fancy. It was an old shoebox with labeled envelopes and sticky notes, but it gave her confidence. The truth is, we don't organize our paperwork because we expect the worst. We do it so we can live the best version of our lives without that lingering what-if hovering in the background. By building a paper trail of peace, you're writing your own rulebook for life. You're saying, "I may live alone, but I live prepared." And that quiet confidence, knowing everything's in order, is a kind of peace money can't buy. 9. Outsource companionship in bite-sized ways. Let's be honest, loneliness is the quiet visitor that slips in when you live alone. It doesn't knock, it doesn't shout, but it sits beside you during meals, watches TV with you, and sometimes follows you to bed. You can't always banish it, but you can keep it from taking over your life. The secret isn't pretending you're fine without anyone. It's learning to outsource companionship in small, meaningful ways. When people hear the word companionship, they often think it means finding a best friend or joining a club. But companionship doesn't have to be deep or dramatic. Sometimes it's a smile, a wave, or a simple, "How are you?" that breaks the stillness of your day. These small interactions are like sunlight through a window, brief, warm, and quietly healing. Think about the people you already see in your routine. The barista who remembers your coffee order, the cashier who greets you by name, the librarian who asks what you're reading. These are micro moments of connection, but they matter. One older man told me he goes to the same grocery store not for the prices, but for the cashier who knows his name. That 2-minute chat, he said, reminds me I still belong to the world. If you can, build small rituals of contact. Maybe you call your doctor's office every few weeks to check on prescriptions, or chat with the neighbor while watering your plant. If you enjoy animals, volunteer at a shelter once a week, or visit a local park where people walk their dogs. Pets and people both have a way of reminding us we're part of something larger than our walls. For those who prefer staying home, technology opens a door to companionship. You can join online classes, senior groups, or chat communities where people your age share stories and hobbies. One woman I know signed up for a virtual stretching class, not for fitness, but for company. "Half the time, I don't even stretch," she admitted, "but seeing those familiar faces every Thursday makes my week." And here's a surprising truth. You can even buy companionship in small, healthy ways. Hire a house cleaner who comes regularly, a dog walker who stops by for a chat, or a gardener who shares a few words about the weather. These short, genuine interactions are not fake friendship. They're human connection, on your terms, at your pace. Outsourcing companionship isn't about replacing family or finding lifelong friends. It's about sprinkling your days with enough warmth and interaction to keep the loneliness at bay. It reminds you that you're still part of the living, breathing rhythm of the world. Because the goal isn't to live without people, it's to live with presence. Every smile, every hello, every kind word adds a little heartbeat to your day. And when you collect enough of those moments, you realize that even in solitude, you're never truly alone. 10. Create and keep a self-care calendar. When you live alone, time can quietly lose its shape. Days melt into one another until you can't tell Monday from Thursday, and the routines that once anchored your life begin to drift. Without someone to nudge you, to say it's time to eat, shower, or go for a walk, it's easy to let small habits slide. That's why creating a simple self-care calendar can be one of the most powerful gifts you give yourself. It turns an unstructured life into a gentle rhythm, reminding you that caring for yourself is not an afterthought, it's a priority. The idea is simple. Plan your week the way someone who loves you would plan it for you. Write down modest, doable goals. Take a walk on Monday. Change your sheets on Wednesday. Cook a proper meal on Thursday. Water the plants on Friday. Rest or watch a movie on the weekend. Suddenly, time has meaning again. You're not drifting through the days. You're steering them. A self-care calendar doesn't have to be fancy. It can be a notebook on the counter, a wall calendar by the fridge, or even reminders on your phone. One man I know programmed cheerful alerts that pop up with messages like, "Hey champ, drink some water before you turn into a raisin," or "Stretch a little, your spine will thank you." He laughs every time, but he also listens. Another woman keeps a paper calendar and rewards herself with gold star stickers for every task completed, exercising, eating well, remembering her vitamin. "It sounds childish," she told me, "but those stars make me proud. They remind me that I'm still accomplishing things." That's the beauty of this small system. It creates gentle accountability. It replaces pressure with encouragement and gives your days a shape that feels calm and purposeful. Each checkmark is more than a chore completed. It's an act of self-respect, a quiet promise that you haven't given up on yourself. When you live alone, you are both the caretaker and the cared for. Your self-care calendar becomes the soft voice that says, "I've got you." It transforms routine into nourishment, time into structure, and solitude into a steady rhythm of living well on your own terms. At some point in life, we all arrive at the quiet stretch of the road, the one where the noise fades, the crowd thins, and we find ourselves standing alone. For many, that moment can feel like loss. The house is still, the phone doesn't ring as often, and the rhythm of daily life slows to a gentle hum. But here's the beautiful truth. Living alone doesn't have to mean living small. It's not a punishment or a lonely ending. It's an invitation to steer your own ship, to craft a life defined not by who's missing, but by what remains: freedom, peace, and choice. Each step you've read about in these pages, the safety nets, the meal plans, the routines, the small systems of care, is really about one thing: taking ownership of your life in a world that often forgets how capable you still are. When you automate your medications, you're not surrendering to technology, you're reclaiming control. When you clear your home of hazards, you're not admitting frailty, you're designing freedom. When you plan your meals, move your body, or hire a cleaner once a month, you're quietly telling yourself, I'm worth the effort. These small, steady decisions add up to something powerful: independence with grace. Living alone doesn't have to mean isolation. You can still weave connection into your days through a smile at the cafe, a wave to the neighbor, a chat with the delivery driver, or even a friendly good morning from your smart speaker. Connection isn't always loud or long. Sometimes it's a brief spark that reminds you that you're part of a larger story. You can fill your home with warmth through routine, your body with strength through movement, and your mind with purpose through planning. That's not just survival. It's a life of quiet dignity. Yes, there will be silent evenings and days that test your patience. But solitude can be a teacher too. It can show you what really matters, what truly brings comfort, and what kind of peace comes from knowing you can rely on yourself. Freedom in old age isn't about doing everything. It's about knowing what to do and setting up your world so that life works with you, not against you. So, as you stand at this stage of life, remember, you're not drifting, you're captaining. You've built systems that protect you, routines that nourish you, and small rituals that make each day worth waking up to. You've turned what could have been loneliness into self-reliance, and what could have been fear into calm strength. Living alone doesn't mean there's no one walking beside you. It means that you are walking your path with purpose, surrounded by the safety, comfort, and quiet joy you've created for yourself. The house may be silent, but it's filled with something far richer: peace. And in that peace lies a truth worth celebrating. You are not merely surviving this chapter, you are mastering it, beautifully and bravely, on your own terms.